Against the Storm. Against the Storm isn't a game where you can build a nice little village where all of your beavers can be well fed and live in harmony. This is a game that throws challenge after challenge at you and you provides you with very few ways to deal with them. The resources on each map are different as a building you have access to. In one map you might have access to a lot of AC marrow to use as fuel. In another you will have to use a kiln to convert wood into coal. In a third, you might need to set up a production line to turn meat into oil. This randomness turns the game from a simple city builder into more of a puzzle. How are you going to approach the problems facing the settlement using the resources you have to your disposal? Throughout the entire game there is an undying sense of urgency. Settlement grows, so does the storm and does the queen's interpret. Failing to manage this can be incredibly punishing and you will never feel like you are in a comfortable position, only that you're saving off the inevitable just long enough to get the renown you need to win. A truly happy population is often impossible and you will frequently have to make thought decisions to meet that goal. Against the Storm gameplay follows any general RTS type game. The camera can rotate in 360 fashion with zoom in and wow features. The general premise of the game is that the player has to acquire enough requirement before the queen's imperience grows. So every level that is started does indeed let the player build a base, colony, camp, but the player has to build fast enough to beat certain objectives to keep the queen's independence at bay. The player has certain amount of turns to move through a map, scattered with different modifiers and landscapes. As more camps are built and more turns are completed, there are options to upgrade for future experiences. Yes, it can suck for some players having to rebuild every time, but the point is to get faster, further and better every playthrough. Upgrading is possible at a place called Smoldering City and gives the player modifiers. The way to get these modifiers is to acquire resources. How? Build as many successful camps as possible while increasing reputation. The game starts out with two essential buildings, one that keeps an eternal fire running and one is a large warehouse. The player has to strategically think how and where to place each building, as space as an issue. To create more space, the player has to build a woodcutter's camp to cut down the trees. The catch in this game through is something called glades, or unexplored areas. As the player continues to cut down trees and encounter glades, glades open the map up and provide resources for the player, sometimes even danger. Many buildings revolving resources gathering are available, but depending on what is available will determine what buildings to unlock. Basic buildings in the game are given, however, as the player reputation points progresses, a choice is given to which building to unlock for this current turn. For a city builder, this game certainly keeps the game entertaining and the player on their toes. However, the more punishing the game is, more rewarding it feels when you overcome it. Seeing the victory screen pop up after punishing through the blight at the storm shows that final point of reputation is one of the best feelings in the game. It's the same one you get when you finally beat the Dark Souls boss. You spend a month trying to kill or downing the final raid boss in a MMO. You feel like you accomplished something, that no matter what the game threw at you, you deal with it. The roguelike aspects provides a sense of progression between games. A settlement doesn't just exist in a vacuum. Completing one provides you with resources you can spend on unlocks that makes your next settlement that little bit easier, allowing you to take on further areas for even more rewards. Even losing provides you with some amount of this, meaning you will never feel like your time was wasted no matter how badly your city goes. It's an absolutely fantastic game and anybody with even a passing interest in the city builders should pick it up. Probably the best city builder I have ever played.